What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be discussing having the right mindset when it comes to money. I came across this video about Americans drowning in debt, and money is such a intricate part of all of our lives. So I just thought it was very interesting. I feel be a good topic for us to discuss right here. So here it is.
$16.15 trillion. That is how much debt American households owed by the second quarter of 2022. A staggering 41.79% increase from $11.39 trillion just 10 years prior.
The consumers that have a whole lot of debt really are struggling to survive. They're struggling to meet rent or mortgage payments, repay college loans, to repay loans for a car. They're struggling because they've got enormous credit card debt.
60% of American adults surveyed cited their level of debt as their main reason for financial anxiety.
That's crazy. So many Americans living paycheck to paycheck and in debt, owing so much money. And it's such a struggle to try to get ahead of the game, and I'm blessed to have a good job, but I'm still in debt. I still owe money for my car. I still pay rent. I have other bills, personal loans. There's this built-in fear that everybody feels that, some people deal with it better than others. Some people let it stress them out to the point of, snapping and going crazy and getting depressed, falling and letting it fester into a bunch of other issues. You almost feel like you are in this on this roller coaster that you have no control over. And that's where, they kind of get you with even adding the fear. The society we live in, you see people online living the life, living a good life, flashing money, TV shows, things get resolved within an hour, and in your life, it doesn't work like that. So you're in this false reality that you see on TV, social media, these type of things. But we are all living in the reality where these things does not just work out the way they're supposed to work out unless you just, extremely one of the lucky ones. You have to keep working hard and keep working at it. And that's how they get you with the fear.
But concerns over household debt are rising again.
Government did a whole lot of things to help households and help households in debt during COVID. Now, unfortunately, those are all gone. Interest rates are starting to rise again. The Federal Reserve has already increased interest rates a good deal. They've said they're going to increase interest rates more.
More fear.
Most of the debt held by Americans is related to housing, accounting for 72.5% of the total balance. Nearly half of all Americans today say that the availability of affordable housing is a significant problem.
We've seen phenomenal house price growth during the pandemic, and some of that's driven by just supply side constraints, not enough homes to go around.
We also went through a decade where you had to have a 700 plus credit score to qualify for a mortgage. That means that people whose credit scores were not in that strong position were competing for lending dollars that were not easily available.
It's and competition,
for homes
everything
that were not easily available either. So prices just climbed and climbed.
Meanwhile, student and auto loans comprise most of the non-housing debt, accounting for 35.7% and 33.7% of the total balance. College tuition for public four-year institutions rose by 179.2% between 2000 and 2020, with an average increase of 9% each year.
With college education going up and up and up and up and up, it's the difference between spending a few $1,000s, right, for your tuition and borrowing a few $1,000s and a few tens of thousands of dollars. You get a law degree, you get a doctor's degree, you get an MBA, you get a PhD. Now the debt levels are even larger.
The debt levels are even larger, and that's the thing. You are hoping the job that you got or the profession, the degree you got will help you get out of that debt. And that is not a bad thing, instead of just spending money and not, working on self-improvement. So you definitely want to take consideration on improving yourself. I agree with that. But then when you look at it, what are the solutions? What can you do to don't put yourself in this stressful feeling of what tomorrow has to bring? Let's see if there is any solution here at the end.
There's also good debt that can help build an individual's wealth over time, such as student loans, mortgages, or business loans.
I think that some amount of consumer debt is a necessity in our economy. It makes sense in a lot of situations for people earlier in their life cycles to do more borrowing for things like higher education.
But household debt that's out of control is correlated with a recession. Historically, rising household debt has been associated with lower GDP growth.
Out of control.
The fact that households are going into debt in order to keep the economy going means that the ratio of their debt to their income is going up, and that makes them struggle more and more to be able to repay that debt. And if they can't repay that debt, sometime they reach a point where they've got to cut back because nobody will lend them more money. And that's when economies go into recessions. And if the debt to income level gets too great, then the problems for the economy can be enormous.
Well, the problems for you become enormous too, because that's when the repo man is coming. Let's continue.
Living with debt doesn't impact folks equally. We know that the lower income folks also have higher debt burdens because of that structural discrimination and historical discrimination that makes it so that they're not having the same access to financial products in the first place.
It's even rougher at the bottom. You see that? Always. That is, no matter what the crisis is that happens within this country, those at the bottom always feel it the worst.
Ratio measuring people's debt to their physical assets is heavily dependent on the race of the borrower. The ratio is 115.5% for blacks, 65.8% for Latinos, and 98% for other races, compared to just 49.3% for whites.
Brutal.
The lower end of the income spectrum, the lower end of the credit score spectrum, we find that borrowers have a very hard time accessing traditional credit, like credit cards or a mortgage loan. And the credit that they do have available can be at higher interest rates and more costly. Some of it can be
the interest rates is what destroys you, right? You have low credit score, so the interest rate is much higher for you. It's almost like you are hustling backwards. Terrible.
Alternative financial services, such as a payday loan or a title loan. And these types of credit, though they serve the credit needs of these communities to some degree, they can be quite expensive.
In a lot of cases, the real problems are the families who are downwardly mobile, the families who were middle class, who had sort of accumulated debt based on the expectations that they would remain middle class, and then something happens in the economy. You lose your job, but you've still got your mortgage and your car payments and your college loans. Those become almost impossible to finance. And
those are things you cannot control, losing your job, the economy, inflation. Those are things that are out of your control.
It's almost impossible for you to keep your head above water.
I would say the bottom line of Americans living in debt is do not count on the government to control your finances or control your situation. Watch your loans, watch the money you're taking, watch what money's coming in, have a budget. I'm not a financial guru, but I can tell what's right and what's wrong, what works, what doesn't work. You definitely need a budget. You need to be aware of what's coming in weekly, monthly, and what's going out on a weekly, monthly basis. You can only control what you can control. Everything else you have to just let go of it and put it out there in the ether, because money woes could send you down a path of depression, insanity, and it's just not a good road to go down. And the purpose of this channel is to deal with mental health issues and overcoming, and what we can do to make our minds stronger and push through, because there's so much fear out there that will keep you stagnated, or worse, turn you into a person that you're really not. Right? So just try to remain strong, my peoples out there. Drop me some comments. Let me know what you think. Where do you stand? How are you surviving financially? Are you thriving? Are you struggling? Any advice you could throw down there for other people to, learn how to be more financially aware, financially fit, and even if you got some tips on financial freedom, any bit would count. Until next time, y'all be good and be safe and stay mentally strong. Push through. And till the next time, peace.